right. Wonderful evening once again. My name is Oloruntobi, and I'm the founder of Thriving While Waiting. Today's edition is an interesting one. Our speaker is fully ready to distill knowledge to us. Most of us have wondered, why do some people always have opportunities chasing them? Why for some others, some of us are always looking out for opportunities, always asking or seeking for where to find opportunities. Whereas for some people, it just comes easy. They sit in their home and their phone keeps ringing. So it's a valid question to ask, what is this person doing differently? Instead of getting envious, what we should ask is, what are you doing? How can I learn from you? Right? So today we want to talk about how to become magnet of resources. Last month, we spoke about the topic, generally talking about what it means to be a magnet of resources. And we reviewed the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, where we learned a lot of principles about wealth, about tenacity, about being intentional, about giving yourselves to excellence, and being consistent in whatever you're doing. Part of the principles was building relationships and focusing on exactly not giving up, seeking expert advice before giving up, and a whole lot. So today we want to talk about how to become a magnet of resources. A magnet attracts an equivalent of its power. So when you see that you are not attracting the opportunities you desire or the kind of people you desire, or that job, that business opportunity, you keep trying, you keep knocking the door, but it's not opening for you. What you should ask intentionally is that, what am I offering? What do I have that will make me able to attract this opportunity without stress? How do I get to the level where I sit in my home and people keep calling me to get this done for them? Invariably, that's value. When you have sufficient value, that's the kind of power that your magnet has. When it's sufficient, then it naturally attracts what you are looking out for. All right, so briefly, I'll be introducing or telling you more about our community. So at the end of this event, in summary, we want you to be able to understand the principles of attracting resources. Resources cost across money, it costs across people, it costs across support when you need it. And also this abundance mindset. We want you to be able to understand the principles of becoming a hub of attraction, principles of attracting resources, the secret of living in true abundance, which culminates into living a successful life. So the order of the program is introducing, like I have done, and then talking about our core objectives. So before I go to that, let's talk about the ground rules. Try to keep your phones away at this time. In less than 1 hour, we'll be done. So let's focus and get the very best out of this session. Take notes and note your questions down. There will be room to ask questions at the end of the speaker session. And as much as possible, if you're in a noisy environment, mute your device or your Zoom account. But if you're in a good environment, unmute and participate so we can know you are here and you are listening and engaging. Who are we? We are a community of purposeful women that encourages and help yet to marry women live purposeful and fulfilled life. So the problem we are trying to solve is that we realize that in this part of the world, we find marriage very interesting and we find it very important. So at the stage when a woman gets to a certain age and we feel, oh, she's not yet getting married, the society naturally puts pressure on them, and not only women, anyway, even men. And you realize, but a lot of women take it more personal. And then you realize that these women have dropped all their life ambitions, goals, dreams, passion, the solutions that God has given them for the entire world, they drop it and then they go in pursuit of marriage. Anyhow thing you are looking for, who is going to look at me and call me? Any event, you are looking at how to be more attractive, and then you lose total focus. There are friendships that would be very valuable, but may not lead to marriage, but you lose out on them because all you are looking out for is marriage. So we are trying to build a new set of mindsets in yet to marry women to ensure that they thrive. Thriving for us means to prosper, to be fortunate, to be successful, to express all the gift that God has given you, be a blessing to the society around you. It means to progress, to achieve your goals in spite of all that you have experienced in life. So we want to build the growth of a total woman that utilizes opportunities and resources positively. We are building a community of thriving women that will overcome the hassles of being single and direct their focus to growth in all areas of life, discovering and developing their potentials, living a meaningful and fulfilled life. We want to build women that uses the waiting period to add beauty to the life that is around them while retaining the tenets of biblical marriage. Our values, in summary, is that we believe in marriage, we believe in family, we believe in purpose, we believe in being intentional. Nothing happens by accident. All the efforts we have made for this program to go live now, we had to be intentional about it. It was not an accident. So we believe in living your best life. We believe in the tenets of biblical marriage. The community is Christian-based, and we're accommodating. So let me go straight to the topic of the day, Magnet of Resources, Season 2, which we are focusing on how to become a magnet of resources. Our guest speaker for today is Mr. Godwin Umorin. He's an IT support specialist at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Nigeria, and he is the founder of GoldLinks Multimedia and Media Hub Africa. Media Hub Africa is an innovative platform at the forefront of technological advancement in creative ideas. His vision is to connect IT and multimedia professionals with clients to enhance brand visibility and experiences throughout Africa. Media Hub is just one of many IT and multimedia initiatives that Godwin has undertaken. It proudly represents African ingenuity by exporting technology developed by Africans to the global world. As the creative director of GoldLinks Multimedia, a multimedia and entertainment brand, his expertise encompasses creative direction, team building, treatment, research, digital content development, internet marketing, and multimedia production management. Godwin possesses a diverse skill set that includes training and development, organizational development, product development, video production, graphics design, and web design. These capabilities enable him to contribute effectively to the growth and success of businesses across various industries. With a round of applause, please welcome with me to the virtual lecture, Godwin Umorin. You are welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hello, welcome. Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Pleasure is mine to be here today. And for those that are connecting from other parts of the country, good evening, good morning, bonjour, and salbona for those in Africa, South Africa. My name is Godwin Umorin, and wow, I like what you just read. Well, like what she said, it's pretty self-explanatory. But what's important for me today? Can you all hear me?
Yes,
There?
we can hear
You all
you.
can.
Yes,
Okay,
we
very
can.
excellent. Okay, I'll dive straight into it. But first and foremost, sessions like this are usually textbook stuff sometimes where we have like slides, information, and then you just read through it. But today I want it to be more interactive. So with the little time I have, I will go through a few points and experiences with you on how to become a resource magnet, and also leave the floor for questions, because I believe a lot of people have questions. Some of you are already in the field on your way there to becoming successful and being a resource magnet, and you're probably needing a mentor to guide you through the process or to certify what it is you're doing so far. So I'll leave room for that. Without further ado, let me dive into it. Okay, resource magnets. From what I got earlier, you already had a training that prepared us for this session and went through a couple of books. And I must say, I'm impressed with what you're all doing here. I'm impressed with the whole community, and I hope to add value. Okay, resource magnets. I've broken it down into areas to note that gets you fit and ready to become a resource magnet. There are 5 areas here I'll run through, and they're very important. So if you have your pen and pad, please take note. If you don't, once this is uploaded on YouTube, we'll add a link for you to download my slide. Okay, so the 5 areas. One is your personal area. I call it personal area, mind you. I had to term it in such a way that I can explain better. Your health, degree and quotients of life, spiritual aspect, and mindsets towards wealth. You need to have all this in check to become a resource magnet. And this is based on my experience, which I'm going to share with you now. In the personal area, self-awareness is key. Now, self-awareness is coming to a state of consciousness where you know who you are, or know where you are, or have decided to take a decision to become a resource magnet, or to change your life, or to improve your life. You need to be aware of yourself. Many people go through life based on, okay, this is the standard our parents set for us, what society expects from us. Then we come out of school and then we look for a job. We're lucky to get a job, and we just keep living life till we retire and say bye-bye to this world. I mean, at some point, you need to be aware of yourself, who you are, your personality, in order for you to start making deliberate moves towards becoming successful. So some become self-aware early, some later in life, but we don't pray that we become self-aware or conscious of what is happening around us too late, because it'll help. Now, on the personal area, we have family, friends, and colleagues. The reason why I put this family, friends, and colleagues is because it's dicey. You have friends that you have known for a very long time. You have colleagues in your office that want 1 or 2 things from you. You have family that you cannot do without. So what happens? How do these people contribute to you becoming a resource magnet? 2 things can happen. They can either encourage you or distract you. So you have to set boundaries, prioritize, create a circle of control for yourself where you allow people in, circle of influence where you allow your colleagues and people you're working with in, and friends, and then you now leave an outer circle where you just filter people according to the grade and their level of importance. If not, people are just going to come into your life and distract you and, demand from you time that you don't have, and even resources that you're trying to attract, the little one you have managed to keep. So you have to be careful when you're dealing with family, friends, and colleagues on your journey to becoming a resource magnet. Okay, now I'll swing into personal area still. I have he's late now, Charles Stanley. He was a great preacher and a mentor for me. During one of his messages, he taught me something called halt. Because in personal areas, we have temptations. These are where these distractions come in. Things that want to derail you, things you haven't overcome in your life that just keep popping up. So you need to tackle them. So when you have these temptations come into your life, most times you halt, you stop. So Charles Stanley created an acronym for HALT, H-A-L-T, meaning stop. So whenever you see each of these words in this acronym pop up, just stop and think, because there's a temptation around the corner. And these temptations, you know how they fly. If they overcome you or you succumb to them, they might distract you. And of course, once that happens, there goes your chances or your speed at becoming a resource magnet. So let's look into HALT. It's an acronym, H-A-L-T, but I added an extra E because 3 weeks ago, I discovered that there is another angle to life that can either distract you or make you do silly things. So HALT is H-A-L-T-E. It's an acronym for hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and excited. Now, what do I mean by this? Temptations usually hover around these particular emotions. When you're hungry, temptation is around the corner. Stop, think, be careful. When you're angry, stop, think, be careful. When you're lonely, stop, think, be careful. When you're tired, stop, think, be careful. And when you're excited, stop, think, and be careful. Why? Because the distractions are going to pop up, temptations are going to pop up. So remember this, halt is for stop. So whenever you come across these emotions, halt. Now, something I learned again about the A and the E, that's the anger and the excitement, is that two things happen when you're angry or you're excited that are similar. When you're angry, right, sometimes you say things that you regret later. So you need to stop. Whenever you're angry and whenever you're excited, you need to stop and talk less. Reason being that when you're excited, you might make promises that you cannot keep. So learn that along your way. I'm sure most of you know this, but probably not put across to you this way. So whenever you're angry, let me not use the word anger, because as Christians, we should work on that. When you're upset and you're excited, stop, halt, think before you talk, or talk less. Now, moving forward from personal area, we're going to the health area. Okay, so health is very important in becoming a resource magnet. Good physical and mental health is paramount. You've heard health is wealth. Trust me, if you're unhealthy, you get tired quicker. You can't put in the hours it needs for you to propel to a state of control over your life. So you need to work on your fitness. You need to cut down on things that are not good for you, because now you're young. You really need as much energy as possible. And a lot of good health for when you get older. Okay, so health is important. Mental health is important too. When you find yourself surrounded by people that are not encouraging, they give you bad energy, I'm sure you've heard about bad energy. Who sing about it as well. It's very important because you don't know where your brain drain is coming from, where your lack of steam is coming from. It could come from just bad company and bad energy. So your mental health is very important. And they go side by side. If you're physically unhealthy, it's going to drain you mentally. You find yourself a little incompetent or unable to fulfill certain tasks. So work on your health as well. Okay, now moving to degrees and quotients of life. Now, this is a whole chapter on its own, but I'll run through it quickly. Now, we know about quotients. Quotients like IQ, intellectual intelligence quotients. You know, scientists have been able to measure the level of intelligence by putting units to them. Okay, I won't go into that. You can do research on IQ. You know, when someone has a high IQ of above 150, they say is very intelligent. To 170, 200, it's the genius. Okay, but apart from IQ, we also have what is called EQ. And this EQ is not equalizer, or for those that are into sound, so don't get it twisted. It's not equalizer. It's actually emotional quotient. You know, emotional quotient. So basically, your emotional intelligence can also be quantified and measured. And then we go to SQ, which is your social quotient. Your ability to work in a social environment and socialize and network can also be measured, and it can be taught. And the last one that people don't realize exists is your adversarial quotient. That is where what people term haters. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of that before. When you have adversaries, you have challenges from people that don't like you because you're succeeding. Envy is coming around the corner. Family and friends are resenting you. You have adversarial quotients to deal with that. So you need to develop your adversarial quotient to know how to handle bad energy. Sometimes you need to just cut them off, ignore them, or put them in their place. There's nothing wrong with putting people in their place. You understand? It actually sets a standard for you as well. Okay, so don't be afraid to put people in their place if they're becoming an adversary, or silently walk away and ignore them. Okay, with time they will leave you alone. All right, so moving forward into the spiritual aspect. The spiritual aspect is deep in the sense that, you know, there's so many beliefs. I believe we're all Christians here, but we don't know where this will go to. So if you have other beliefs outside Christianity, I wouldn't delve into that. I'm a Christian. And the Bible tells me I should not be evenly yoked with non-believers. So right now, I am not going to even put myself up to par with discussing how other religions influence their lives towards becoming resource magnets. But I can tell you how the Bible puts it. You know, your belief system and your values is very, very important. You understand? Sometimes if the Bible is what you're following, the Bible has guidelines as to how you should live, how you should grow your spiritual energy and the things you're supposed to do to keep yourself afloat. Okay. Now, fear is a major factor when it comes to all these things. Some people are afraid to try, some are afraid to ask for help, some are just afraid to even take that bold step that will lead them towards being successful or becoming a resource magnet. But the Bible says about fear, if I remember in 2 Timothy chapter 1:7, says God has not given you the spirit of fear, but is giving you spirit of power, love, and sound mindedness. So you should understand fear is not a factor. It's not so, as a Christian, you should eliminate fear and know that God is there for you. But the interesting part of that scripture or that verse is sound mindedness. That brings me to the next topic from my five lists, mindset towards wealth. You can see the mind is a very important aspect of our existence. There's so many things about the mind I can't go into right now, but you understand that the mind is very important. Even the Bible says, it mentions renewal of your mind. You need to renew your mind. You need to get your mind right towards becoming successful or attracting people, because it all starts in the mind. So now, the mindset towards wealth has 5 ways that you can go about it. I'll list these 5 ways. I got this from, I think, Stephen Covey's book. I read some of these books talking about 15. When I was telling her about the Think and Grow Rich book by Napoleon Hill, that was one of my books in 2003. As in my list, if it's 2003, when I was reading other books like Who Moved the Cheese, Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, Mastery, the list goes on. It's quite unfortunate I'm not in my library right now. You probably see an array of books that I've been through over the years. So this is adopted from him, Stephen Covey, from the 7, I think it's Stephen Covey, from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. 5 ways of becoming rich or becoming wealthy, the mindsets that you need to imbibe. Number 1, you can become successful or rich by inheritance, when you inherit a lot of money. But the thing is, if you don't know how to manage it, you become poor again, because resources are always limited, unless you have an organizational structure that has been setting on ground for you that you can inherit wealth from. Second way is by winning the lottery. A lot of people have won lotteries in this life and have become rich overnight. But then the question is, if you don't have the skills to sustain this wealth, it will finish, it will dwindle, and then you have to rely on winning the lottery again to actually become rich. But how often does one win a lottery? I've never won one before. I know I tried once like that in South Africa, but I didn't win. So that doesn't play out well for me, and I don't advise you relying on winning a lottery to become successful. Change that mindset. All this, I don't have anything against Bet Niger and Co, but you get what I mean. Now, the third way of becoming rich is by becoming a crook. Now, of course, I would never encourage anyone to become a crook, because once you become a crook, trust me, you're going to end up having crooked friends, and you end up having to manipulate your way to maintain that wealth. And of course, having crooked friends means they're always going to be on your tail. How do you sleep at night? How do you preserve your family when you know that you're in a legal business? Being a crook doesn't cut it. That's another way. Then another way, the fourth way, is by marriage. You can marry a woman that is, like, for a man, can marry into wealth with a woman that has it going on, a financial life, and everything is well organized, and then you can marry into that and improve upon that and become wealthy together, or marry a man as well, and then, so marriage has been an old-time, ancient way of becoming rich. We all know that has happened in the past, even in the Bible, okay? So the fifth way, and the way I would support and I would encourage everyone, is to be an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur. Now, the truth about this is that entrepreneurs, most people think you have to own a business to become an entrepreneur. Well, the truth is you don't necessarily have to own a business to become an entrepreneur. In the professional sense, business has its perks, has its dynamics, and has its terms and ways on how it's done. But the truth is, I believe everyone should be a businessman, whether you own one or not. As far as you're doing a transaction to make profit, you're a businessman. Whatever it is you're doing to make profit, whether it's emotional profit, social profit, financial profit, as far as it's profitable, right? You're a businessman. Even Christ did say, when the mom asked him, "Where have you been?" He said, "I'm about my Father's business." The Bible clearly calls it business. I don't think Christ was transacting anything but just winning souls. But you see, winning souls is profitable to him. You understand? So it's a business, and he had it mapped out, and he went from street to street, state, province to province, doing that. That was his business, and his profit was souls that he was winning, and all the other things he was doing. So you can understand, he doesn't have any business terminologies. Although I could call it business because he had practically almost everyone he needed professionally on his team, the 12 disciples, but it wasn't casted into such a modern formula as we know it today. And most of us have that setting in our lives. So we should understand that we are all, at one point in time, if we're going to survive and earn a living, we are all into business. So that's the way to go. Become an entrepreneur, trade, build yourself up, build capacity to trade, because that will help you and build a mindset to know that, look, the way out, becoming a resource magnet, is to become resourceful, understand how business is done, and be profit oriented from time to time. All right, now further elaborations on what I've said so far is, I mentioned the SQ and the EQ. Now the SQ and the EQ is very important because, that's the most important quotient. People think the IQ is the most important quotient, but the IQ isn't the most important quotient. It's the SQ and the EQ. Because I know a lot of people that are successful and very influential that didn't go to school in this country and around the world. I'm not saying school is out of it, you should. But if you have intelligence and you have school, but you don't have social quotient or emotional quotient, you're just going to be there on your own, being a smart. I don't want to use the A word, but there's a term called smartass, and people don't like smartasses. You understand? Because they think they know too much. You see a lot of them at the bus stop talking about philosophy of life and stuff, but they're broke. Their pants are all torn up, the shoes, but they're actually intelligent. I see a couple of them being mocked on social media. It's sad, but they're actually intelligent and making sense, but they're not wealthy. So it's not by being smart or intelligent that you can become a resource magnet. You need to learn how to mingle. You need to know how to read people. When it comes to emotional quotient, the EQ is emotional intelligence. If you want to ask someone for something, for help or for resources, you need to time them, read their mood, then guess their nonverbal cues, know when to drop your pitch. If it's urgent, try and see if you can get them out of that mood into a mood where you can drop your pitch and they will accept it. You can't meet someone that is probably having a loved one in the hospital and you're calling the person to ask for a favor or for money for investment, and the person's mood is down. You're like, oh, uncle, please, I need 1 million naira to start a food business. You might want to do it, but you're not reading his mood. So you really need to work on your emotional quotient. Knowing it's kind of manipulative, but it's part of business, and it's also part of becoming a resource magnet, being able to read people and know when to enter them and make the pitch. Okay, it's very important. Social quotient, we all know it. Some people are very shy, they don't know how to socialize. If you don't know how to socialize today, go and learn. You must learn. Because being a resource magnet, PR is part of it. Introverts are good with products, while extroverts are good with services. So you need to know your place and your strength. So determine whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. That way you can also apply this SQ and EQ well. Okay, so moving forward. Now, we're talking on the topic of how to deal with potential investors. That's why I brought up, that's a further elaboration. That's why I brought up SQ and EQ, because that's very powerful. That's where you get to meet people, draw people in, and get them to support you. You understand? Get them to support you. And if you don't have this, it'll be hard to convince anyone to do anything for you. So you need to build it. So now back to dealing with potential investors and clients, because the money you're looking for or the support you're trying to attract is in the hands of other people. So you now need to get it from them into your pocket or into your life. So you need to know the kind of people you're dealing with. So I did a marketing training for customer service some time back. I just love to learn. So I did a training session against a trip I'll be going to train officers in Washington very soon. So as part of that training, I was privileged to be exposed to certain approaches and systems that actually works when it comes to dealing with people and getting something from them, getting help or resources. Now we have 4 kinds of people in a nutshell. We have demanding people, we have influential people, steady and easygoing people, and compliant people. You're likely going to meet this in a professional space or even in an informal space like your family. Demanding people are people that just, okay, I'm giving you this. I want this back in return. and they're very demanding, and they're business oriented, choleric, if you may say so. And you need to read those kind of people. And when you're dealing with those kind of people, make sure you're clear. Make sure you have a plan, an ROI plan. You understand? Just don't go there and start talking off the top of your head. If possible, have a written document, a brief executive summary of what it is you want to do or what you need that resource for. Because when you meet them, the very first opportunity you get to meet them, they'll ask you, do you have a business plan? What do you have? And you're like, okay, I'm working on one. It puts them off. It puts them off. I'm telling you, they might not give you the opportunity again. They'll say you're not serious. It's their time. You want something. So read them and know who you're dealing with, so you don't lose potential investor. Now, influential people like to gist. When you meet them, you're going with your own topical. You want to go and ask for support, and they're telling you about what happened in 1960, talking about their awards, talking about what they achieved, talking about where they have traveled to. You know, they want to just have fun with you. They want to chill. They don't want you to stress them too much. You just endure their stories and nod your head. Yeah, okay, yes, ma. It's true. Just wait for that cue where you can drop your proposal. Do not rush them. They don't like being rushed. If you rush them, it puts them off. Then they'll be like, sorry, Oscar, please, take her to the other living room. I have a meeting briefly. Sweetheart, I'll be back very soon. Just wait for me. They're gone. That's till next time. They get ticked off easily because they just like to show off. So know how to handle influential people, feed their ego, know when to drop your pitch. Don't rush them. Now, steady and easygoing people are steady and easygoing as the word. That's the S in DISC. They're pretty steady and easygoing. You can approach them. They're approachable. Most times they listen. And sometimes they can help you. They'll tell you on the spot. If they can't, they'll tell you on the spot. It's that easygoing. And they usually have a stoic, expressionless face. You can't really get them to laugh much. And yeah, so if you meet those kind of people, hey, good for you. You know where you stand with them almost immediately. Then the C in DISC is compliant. Now, compliant people are very dicey people. Why? Because they will agree with you. Oh, they love your idea. As a matter of fact, they will listen. They are so detailed and they'll comply with you. If your pitch is good, they're ready to give you the resources. But note, one thing about compliant people is they like to micromanage. By the time they give you the resources, I promise you they'll want to help you do the business, help you run the business to be sure that you're using the money or the resources well. When you're meeting a compliant person, also, they're almost like demanding people, but they are not so forward. They'll allow you finish. They likely say yes. But when you say, I'm paying back so time, make sure you're paying back. If you tell them, I'm going to give you progress reports weekly, make sure you give them progress. They will tell you, okay, fine. But the minute you default, trust me, they'll pull in the plug on you. They can't trust you. So be careful with compliant people. They look very nice and reassuring. But trust me, if you don't meet up to the expectations, they can pull the plug on you. They're not as easygoing. They're not ready to gist like influential people. And they're not demanding on the spot, so you can't really see them coming. So that's a different DISC approach and different personalities you meet when you want to attract resources from people. Okay, moving forward, there's a list of things that I adopted from what's our host here posted earlier. And I don't know if some of you got it, but I'd like to read it through because it was very insightful, even for me as well. When you're asking for support or help or becoming a resource magnet, right? Seek out resources, investigate your blockage, recognize the importance of getting over them. So, okay, let me move forward to the one that struck me in line with my training today. Reframe your perception of help. Very, very important. It says here, consider that asking someone for help isn't burdening them, but giving them an opportunity to step up, contributing to the success of the team. It's a win-win proposition. Well, the idea is this: come up with something, make them own it. It's like a sales pitch. You understand? When you're asking for resources, you're not asking for food to eat most times. You're asking for resources to invest in a business idea. So I believe you believe in your idea first, and you have done your homework before you now start looking for investors or resources. So you should see your idea, own your idea, believe in it, you understand? So when you're pitching it, you're not asking for help. You're actually trying to sell an idea where they can also benefit from. You understand? So don't see yourself as helpless or as needy. See yourself as someone that has great potential to also create wealth for other people. You get, from that point of view, it'll give you the confidence you need to pitch your idea. Okay, craft your request carefully. Make sure the help you ask for is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. I love this. This will increase the likelihood that your needs get met. Very important, self-explanatory. Specific, measurable, achievable. Be very pragmatic. Be very pragmatic, because sometimes the people that have the money you're looking for are people that have been where you are already. So don't come and start telling them stories. Trust me, they can see through all the mumbo jumbo. Even me at this level, I'm not there yet. People come on pitch and I can already tell this is a half-baked idea. By the time I start throwing 1 or 2 or 3 questions, they just say, sir, please, just give me 2 days. They want to go and fine-tune their propositions or their proposals. So try and do your homework before you now seek for support. And of course, if you have a nice person that is willing to help you develop your business ideas, seek that person as well. Okay, practice, start small and see how it feels. Reach out to someone you're super comfortable with, perhaps a family member or a trusted coworker, and ask her for help with something minor. So practicing how to pitch, that's basically practicing how to gain resources. Start within your family. If you're shy, you don't know how to talk to people, start with someone you can trust. Throw your ideas before them. You understand? Make small demands and see how it turns out. It'll help you build the confidence for you to meet the bigger potential investors. Now, the last section is building capacity. We talk about becoming a resource magnet. What's a magnet? A magnet attracts things. Metal, and you talked about scientifically, metals, but we're talking metaphorically right now. Attracting resources. Now, some people have big dreams, but they don't have the capacity to achieve them. Why? Because they've not built their capacity to that level where they can attract the right kind of support they need to build that dream. So I would advise people, if you don't have the capacity to be an Amazon with a website, logistics companies partnering to do drop shipping and all of that, IT people on a payroll, making sure your systems are all working, and internet support, I think you should just start small. That's the big dream, but you have a smaller version of it with your social media. Okay, you don't have photographs of your products. Why don't you go online, get some of these products, still photographs, and then put them on your IG page or your Facebook page. It's practically free. You understand? And then write a nice description that talks about the products that you have or can organize to be delivered. You know, that's a very good starting point. Some of you are already doing that. It's a good stepping stone. Maybe the next edition, I'll tell you how to go, where to go from there as you grow. But that's a place to start, okay? Build your capacity. And there are ways I've pointed out here on how to build capacity. One of the major ways to build capacity is through academics and qualifications. You know, education and qualifications. So under education, we talk about academics and experience, expertise, and talent. Why did I put this forward? Academics, yeah, your qualifications. People might say, oh, he's a qualified medical doctor. Wow, why don't you just give him some money to open a hospital? You know, you can say your qualifications help you there. You get, or you could be the only qualified cybersecurity experts, and people are calling you, oh, there's one cybersecurity expert I know about. I just graduated from Harvard. He's a Nigerian and he's in Lagos right now. Please, let's give him a call. You get, your qualifications beefs up your profile on your social media, amongst other things that I'll teach you on how to do to build the capacity to now attract resources. You get, like me, my social media page is not so booming because of my commitments to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the government's establishment. So we have laws. But notwithstanding, my track record over time before I joined the service has awarded me the privilege to sit at home and receive phone calls from several people looking for one thing or the other. I mean, I'm grateful to God. Right now, I had to even tell our host that I'm putting my phone off and my WhatsApp off. Why? Because I literally get phone calls. I'm not bragging, every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes. I wanted to say 2 minutes, but 2 minutes seems like it's a hotline. I'm not a call center, but it's that, I can't say it's that bad. It's that interesting. Every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, it's a request somewhere. I'm always referring. Today alone, I've made 10 referrals and I'm working on one job, including this presentation today. You get, If it's not design, it's IT. If it's not IT, it's someone having issues and wants to contact someone. It's just always coming through. And how I got here, honestly, I'll tell you in a short while, but it's all part of waking up one day and realizing that you're a resource magnet. It's not something that you really realize, or you can work towards it, but sometimes it catches up with you and you're like, whoa, I'm so busy. How did I get so busy? You know? So if it ever happens to you that way, know that you're following the right steps. You understand? You just find yourself waking up one day and you're successful, you have everything you want, and you're whoa, resources are chasing after you, people are just calling you. You wake up and literally sometimes you get so upset. Why are they disturbing me? Well, they're disturbing you. Why? Because you compounded all these things and all these tips and you built your life that way. I mean, didn't you see it coming? I'm like, I didn't see it coming, but I like the attention. Okay, moving forward. Another one is prototyping. Prototyping is very important. Your basic capacity building. You have to build capacity to attract what it is that the resources you want. So from social media, selling your food, to owning Amazon, that's where we're going to. That's becoming a magnet of resources, a bigger magnet of resources. So building capacity is how to go from ground zero or ground one all the way to ground 10 around Amazon level. Prototyping is important. Make sure that you have a sample of what it is you have done, no matter how small, and not just to tell people what you can do at mouth value. It's very important. People talk a good game these days. People have heard it all. Come on, give me something new. Okay. So to gain this, sometimes you could join the needed fields as a volunteer to gain experience and prototyping as well. You understand? This is an opportunity for you to upscale. Now, being a volunteer, you see, when you become a volunteer, right, you must have it in mind that you're not volunteering only hoping that you get employed. A lot of people have that mindset, so they don't put in work. But you're becoming a volunteer so you can learn the trade. You understand? And if possible, use the infrastructure and the resources to build prototypes of whatever it is you want to do, depending on the kind of industry you're in. You understand? So at some point in time when you leave, there's one or two things you've built for yourself that you can use to pitch your client and say, I did this using the resources of the company that you're working for. You understand? Even if they're not paying you, just try and get there, learn the ropes of the jungle of the industry that you're in. A friend of mine from Tanzania, when I was in university in South Africa, told me one thing one time. He said, look, before you open your own business or you start seeking for resources, make sure you have worked in the top management of a star company. Make sure you have grown through the levels and worked when they're having board meetings and calling managers or calling supervisors. Make sure you're there because that's where the decisions are taken. That's where everything is open, brought to the floor. And if you're not there and you're just waiting for your salary every single day, hey, salary time, you can't really manage your own business because you don't know the intricacies that are involved in running a business. If you start running a business based on textbook stuff, you might end up crashing. And resources are very limited. So you don't want to make that mistake because no one is going to give you resources and then you mismanage it and you come back for part two. Even God would do that. You understand? So be very careful when you're seeking for resources as well. You might get lucky. Don't blow it. Train yourself, qualify yourself, work under mentors, under companies, and learn the trade before you open your own business. That's building capacity, being a volunteer. When it comes to networking, your EQ and SQ, like I mentioned, talking to people should be easy for you. It's not always easy, but try and learn it. Try and look good, smell good, appear knowledgeable, confident, and sincere. It's all part of the game. I mean, some people might say, I don't have the clothes to fit into certain circles. Well, hey, some people have Christmas clothes and church clothes now. I mean, if you can look good to church once in a while, keep those clothes and use it for your pitch whenever you're going for an important meeting. No one, just pray that you're not meeting someone that is in your church. Like, hey, I saw you wearing that on Sunday. They might likely not say it as far as you look good and you smell great. Rich and influential people they are trying to attract really don't have time for small talk. So, but just look good. All right. So, moving forward, I mentioned try and look good. Yes. Remember, the world is a big stage. This is one of my quotes, and I love it. And it goes, remember, the world is a big stage, and you can always create or choose your avatar. You understand? You can always, avatar is your DP, your personality. If you use Snapchat, you see the avatar. You create it, put clothes on it, choose skin color, the glasses, that's your avatar. You can create your avatar. You understand? So you can create as many avatars as you want. So see it as a stage, it's nothing personal. You understand? So create your personality and walk in there. You know, your name is Charles Dixon. That's who you are. And then walk in as Charles Dixon or Lizzie Owen. Create an avatar. Social media can help you do that. Understand? No one needs to know where you live or what I have eaten today. Stay focused on the purpose of your engagements while networking. You understand? Leave all your wahala, your worries at home. Just focus on your purpose with your avatar. You understand? And go walk in there with confidence and create a new personality for yourself that can sell your products. Practice in front of the mirror if you need to. Get someone to coach you if you need to. Build the confidence. Try selling at home before you move into the big space. Perception of self by self and others. That's very important. So create a perception for yourself. Most people that are making it, those that are attracting major resources are guys and women that have created a perception about themselves. There's a DJ that I know in the US that collects 1 million naira per event, while there's one DJ somewhere in Maraba that's collecting 50K for the same playlist. What makes it so different? Why are they willing to pay Mr. A Yankee or a million naira and pay some other guy here in Nigeria or maybe in Swaziland somewhere 50? It's because of perception. That's different. So build a perception for yourself. That's a different topic. But building a perception, you can do it through social media, through putting up some of the little works you've been doing, mingling with people, packaging. It's all that whole packaging thing we hear actually works. It helps you attract the resources you need with time. Okay, now last but not least is using the internet and social media. Okay, there's two more. Using the internet and social media to build confidence to me is a major step to attracting resources. People love reliable and consistent people who are confident about themselves. It's easier to invest in someone already looking the part. Note that it's easier to invest in someone already looking the part, looking like a successful person. It's easier. You understand? Followed by a good track record of your dealings. Your presence can show your capacity. What do you mean by presence? Social media presence. You know, whenever you turn up at an event where people are, you're looking sharp and always talking a good game and have things to back it up. Social media is important because when you now talk a good game and you're trying to sell an idea and you're trying to build presence online, you're at every event pitching one thing, partnering with programs, you know, that are going live for free, learning how to partner, or if you have resources or you have talent, learn to partner with programs for free so they can give you, so you can ride along with their own market. You understand? So you get yourself out there, get your brand out there once you know what it is you want to do. I promise you, by the time you flow with these people for free, let me give you an example. If you're a media person and then MTN is doing a big show, you know, you just go to MTN and say, look, I want to be one of your media. I want to do the photography for you guys on the house for free. All I want you to do is just put my logo on your banner and all the ICT materials. Don't negotiate with you if you're very good. Check your Instagram page. Your photographs look really good. We're not paying you. Hey, they'll put you up there. And then you now carry that flyer. That's holy flyer with MTN, GT Bank, and all these guys. Carry it straight to the next person and say, you know what? I was with MCN. We did a very major event, and I was one of the major partners for the events. You know, we did photography for them, and honestly, check our Instagram page. You'll see it there. We can do photography for you as well. And if you have anyone that wants to do photography, we have premium photography. I mean, with MCN standards, you know, UBA. These guys are calling us, and they're looking at you. You're smelling good. You're looking great. You're confident, and you're confident. Why? Because you have proof. And when they check out your social media page, MTN is there. But you wiggled your way in there and lobbied it for free, just to make sure you just have yourself at par with them. However you plan to use it is your business. You have to be smart about it. It helps. I've done it before, trust me, and it works like magic. Okay, so that's part of it. You know, as you're growing, you practice. With time, you find out that you don't need to work this hard. You know, your track record will speak for you. People just call because you've been delivering. And mind you, these things are time bound. You understand? Give it time. Put in work. Be deliberate and give it time. Make sure everything you're doing is well calculated, well thought out. Give it time. Nature, God will do the rest for you. You understand? There's no shortcuts. Just keep doing it meticulously. With time, you find out that you have a CV, a resume that is filled with activities, small little achievements. You understand? And it's those small achievements that compounds to that big energy that attracts the bigger deals. So becoming a big magnet of resources is being a small magnet of small resources that have added up to create the energy to attract the bigger one. Okay, break it into bits. Start. That brings me to my next topic and last topic: baby steps. Learn to take baby steps and give you and set up a reward system for yourself. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. I'm sure you've heard that before. You understand? For example, if you want to lose weight over 3 months, you have a program and it requires you to wake up every morning, 3 days a week, and jog 3 blocks. And for some reason, you're lazy. Procrastination is what kills our baby steps towards success and becoming a magnet of resources. When you procrastinate, you find out that you lose time, and it takes one topic. You understand? Sometimes it takes one particular step that you must accomplish for you to get to the next step. Next step, it compounds and builds. So you find yourself there successful, and you already have the energy you need to attract what it is you want. So if you don't take that first step and keep procrastinating, you'll never get there. So how do you do that? Take it like this. Let me give you this analogy. If you want to lose weight over 4 months on a program and it requires you to take 3 days a week, every morning you jog 3 blocks. When you wake up and you don't feel like doing it, what do? First thing you do is start by putting on your shoes. Put on your shoes, put on your jogging pants, and just walk to the front of your house and go back to bed. I guarantee you, the chances are by the time you get to the front of your bed, you greet one guy in the corner, gist will start. You find yourself strolling to the junction. From strolling to the junction, you say, I'm out already now. Let me just, jog down to that supermarket. Before you know, you've jogged the block, come back, you're sweating. Trust me, the fact that you're able to move out and get it done will encourage you to do it tomorrow. And you feel this energy and this relief. You understand? You feel this sense of accomplishment. And it's those small accomplishments that drive you to do more. So your reward system. So when you do that on your way back, hey, I did it today, you can buy yourself a milkshake. Reward yourself, feel good about yourself, So when you build that reward system of small things, you'll be able to do the bigger one. So remember this, I'll leave you with this. Successful magnet of resources, right? A successful magnet of resources or a successful person in general wakes up successful. What do I mean by wakes up successful? I'll use my life as an example. I'm not there yet, but I've succeeded in so many other areas. Give me a minute. I've succeeded in so many other areas in my life. Small successes. Where I am in my career, I've always wanted to be here. I don't have my dream house, but I've had my dream car. It's as simple as a phone. It's a target for me. I'm using one of the best phones in the world presently, and it cost me an arm and a leg. Why? Because I had to get the highest size, and it's something that what do I need it for? It just came on a platter of gold. I didn't realize that I could afford this. I'm lucky enough. I'm taking trips around the world to do trainings and stuff. That's my dream. I'll be in Washington in a few days, and Italy and back to Nigeria, and hoping to go some other places. I'm even here in Uyo for a training program. I was in my house, and now called me and said, "Hey, you have been shortlisted as a delegate for ICANN. For ICANN training on pack technology innovation in Calabar, Transcorp." I'm like, okay, all expense paid for. I'm like, okay, and I'm here. I'm here. I actually branched from Calabar to Uyo, and I'm still using part of the money from the training. I'm just relaxed. I didn't have to do much. I just woke up one morning and these things are just happening. Why? Because I followed these steps. So you wake up one morning and find out you're successful. When people wake up in the morning and then they're in front of their mansions, looking down at their car parks. They have all the cars they've been dreaming of: Ferrari, Mercedes, a beautiful wife lying next to them in bed, kids in the kids' room, and associates calling for meetings in France. And they're like, wow. They don't realize it. Those that are conscious of how successful they are probably not doing it the right way, or they're just, if they're going to ephemerate with time, it won't last. But those that really worked for it and followed the steps, right, and got to where they are, can always, if it vanishes today, give them a month. I promise you they'll get back there because they have the roadmap and the experience. A few phone calls here and there, they'll start a business. Like I always tell people, shut me down today. I'm not bragging. Shut me down today. Take me to one remote forest somewhere, right? Give me a week. I guarantee you I'll probably have a place to stay. Give me a month. I'll probably make a lot of friends and I'll be the guy to talk of the neighborhood. Give me a year, I'll have a proper accommodation, a car and everything. What am I trying to say? I just know how, because I've been through the ropes. I know how to socialize. I know how to talk to people and get them to empathize with me if I need to. You understand? I have a track record of things I've done. You can't take away from me. It's mine. It's online on cloud. Thank God for cloud. So just log in. That's me over there. I can do it for you. You know, internet has made it easy. So even if you take everything from me, I have 1 or 2 pointers online that can guarantee that I can give you the services you need. You get? And hey, and I know exactly where to go to sell myself. People are selling themselves in the wrong places. Don't do that. Look for where your services are necessary. Go there with your track record and pitch. And don't stop trying. You only fail when you stop. Keep trying. Keep trying. I guarantee you success and the resources you need will catch up with you with time. God bless you.